With me right now, we have Don Calloway, host of the Caucus Room podcast and CEO of Pine Street Strategies, Republican strategist and MSNBC political analyst Susan Del Percio, and former Republican Congressman David Jolly, now a registered Democrat and considering a run for governor of Florida. That's something we're keeping our eye on. That's for sure, my friend. Welcome to all of you. Don, your initial reaction to Trump's comments on the chaos that the tariffs have caused, what is it?
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to give props to Kristen Welker for having the kind of courage to stand in there and ask the tough questions in a very blunt and blatant way without, feeling disrespectful to him, because we know he's very sensitive and he can back off. And so I think that the tariff answer, as well as the other answers we got from him, were just very clear evidence that he's going to do this term what he's done the last term, which is say what he needs to say to get out of this situation. It doesn't have to be consistent with what's in the best interest of Americans. It doesn't have to be consistent with what real people's actual experience has been, because thus far in this administration, and like we talked about last week, going forward for the next calendar year at least, the tariffs will cause tremendous amounts of pain for actual real people. The president doesn't have to acknowledge that. All he has to do is say, well, it's not my economy when it's good. That was a crazy answer. But we see from this interview, because she was willing to ask blatant questions spoken plainly, we see that he's willing to say what he needs to say. So I didn't get much out of the tariff answer other than seeing that the show is back on and he'll say what he needs to say for the next 4 years.
Yeah, 100% props to Kristen. She's a master interviewer. But Susan, this week, Trump posted, here's the quote. This is Biden's stock market, not Trump's. Of course, our friend Don thinks that's crazy. In today's interview, he again said that the good parts are the Trump economy, bad parts Biden economy. He's now past the 100-day mark, though. How long can he get away with blaming numbers on Biden? Only when it suits him. How long will it take voters to actually consider this Trump's economy, not Biden's? Do they already?
Well, there are those who certainly consider it Trump's economy, especially anyone who had a 401k and seen the ride it's taken over the last couple of weeks. But also, I think we're going to see his base start getting a little more frustrated with that when the tariffs really kick in. We're talking about another 2 or 3 weeks in some cases. So when prices are going to go up and we hear about layoffs, these are the things that will directly affect Trump's base. But make no mistake about it, Alex, the reason why Trump really made that foolish line, it reminded me of a toddler, it was because he wants to message to his base, like, give me time, and by the way, it's not my fault. And it's basically what people, MAGA Republicans will go on and say to each other to defend Donald Trump. Oh, it's on his fault. I heard him say it.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right in that interpretation. Let me get yours, David. What do you think about it all?
Look, I think the most unsettling part was his refusal to recognize due process for everybody in the United States. That is settled law by both statute, but also by the Supreme Court. And I think it's easy for a president to simply say, yes, everyone's entitled to due process, and then he can speak about his immigration platform as he wishes. The bottom line is whether or not you're a U.S. citizen, an undocumented immigrant, or a Republican president, if you're accused of wrongdoing, you're entitled to due process. He should afford that to everyone, including the people he's looking to deport.
Yeah. Moving to you, Don, about Trump, who also got a lot of attention for his comments during a cabinet meeting that children might have fewer dolls at the holidays and that those dolls might cost more. So Kristen asked him about that, too. Take a listen.
When you say they could have $3 instead of $30, are you saying Americans could see empty store shelves?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
But you're basically saying there could be some supply shortages because of the tariffs. We don't have to waste
money on a trade deficit with China for things we don't need.
How do you think this plays for Trump? Are Americans going to buy that?
I don't think they buy it. It's basically the 2025 version of let them eat cake. He would be dramatically offended if anyone walked in the Trump organization and said, well, y'all don't need to take a private jet down to Augusta this weekend. Let's just all fly commercial, right? That would be offensive. And it's this kind of ongoing class warfare that certain elites are entitled to largesse, are entitled to hyper pleasuring, but poor and working class people need to do the cutting back. And that's basically the Trump budget and Republican economic philosophy in a nutshell. But ultimately, I think that, the MAGA faithful are going to go ahead and continue to play around with it, to play on with it, because the cardinal sin is to question the leader. And he has established that iron fist over the messaging over the course of now 10 years of this experiment. And the problem is that we don't have any Senate or congressional Republicans in leadership who are willing to step up and push back.
So, Susan, this whole $2, $30 line, yeah, it feels practical. I mean, I'll give him in one sense, no one needs $30, right? But at the same time, some Americans may want $30. It has this malaise speech quality to it. I mean, Don saying, let them eat cake for this generation. Does that line resonate for most people?
Absolutely not. What they're hearing is what they cannot have. And that's one thing the American consumers do not want to hear. It's up to them if they want to spend the money. But don't say, you're going to tell me how many dolls I can have because of your tariff policies. Now, you know where that works, Alex? In China. And that's the difference between the two countries and what they can each individually sustain. American public is not a patient group. Whereas China, because of it's a communist country, they dictate what you can, literally what you can and cannot have. They dictate the quality of life that you will have. If the government has to force people to have less, the people have no recourse. It's a different thing when you're talking about the American public. And I think Donald Trump was trying to channel a little bit of that, but it won't work.
David, let me quickly ask you about Trump's plans to hold a military parade on his June 14th birthday. I mean, it's also Flag Day, and it could cost $45 million. It would be taken out of the Army funding. How do you think that would play with Americans?
Look, he's going to reach for patriotism, but I think where it dishonors the military and the country is the strength of our military presence, the strength of our ability to wage war is that we don't use it, we don't brag about it, we don't show it. This is something you see in North Korea and Russia and in other environments. This is a vanity project for Donald Trump. And to the extent he wants to make it a national vanity project, I think he's missing the mark. Many people might rally behind him on it. I just think it shows a real lack of leadership and an immaturity in a president who is really listless right now.